DP-600 Microsoft Fabric Analytics Engineer exam practice questions are available in the video for you to study. You have a fabric tenant named Tenant 1 that contains a lakehouse named Lakehouse 1. You need to add data to Lakehouse 1 from a CSV file in an Azure storage account outside of Fabric. The solution must minimize development effort. What should you use to add the data? A. Copy job. B. Shortcut. C. Pipeline. D. Dataflow Gen 2. The answer is B. A shortcut in Microsoft Fabric allows you to reference data stored in an external Azure storage account, such as ADLS Gen 2 or Azure Blob Storage, without physically copying or duplicating the data. This minimizes development effort because it eliminates the need for data ingestion, transformation, and storage replication. When using a shortcut, Fabric users can directly access the external data in its original location while treating it as part of their lakehouse. This provides a seamless integration without the need for extra data processing or movement. You have a Fabric workspace named Workspace 1 that is assigned to a newly created Fabric capacity named Capacity 1. You create a semantic model named Model 1 and deploy Model 1 to Workspace 1. You need to publish changes to Model 1 directly from Tabular Editor. What should you do? A. For Workspace 1, enable Git integration. B. For Model 1, enable external sharing. C. For Workspace 1, create a managed private endpoint. D. For Capacity 1, set XMLA endpoint to read-write. The answer is D. To publish changes to Model 1 directly from Tabular Editor, the XMLA endpoint must be set to read-write in Fabric capacity settings. This allows external tools like Tabular Editor, SSMS, and Power BI Toolkit to connect, modify, and publish changes to the semantic model. You have a Fabric workspace named Workspace 1. Workspace 1 contains multiple semantic models, including a model named Model 1. Model 1 is updated by using an XMLA endpoint. You need to increase the speed of the write operations of the XMLA endpoint. What should you do? A. Delete any unused semantic models from Workspace 1. B. Select large semantic model storage format for Workspace 1. C. Configure Model 1 to use the Direct Lake storage format. D. Delete any unused columns from Model 1. The answer is C. The Direct Lake storage format in Microsoft Fabric allows semantic models to read data directly from one lake without requiring data movement or import. This significantly improves the performance of write operations when updating a model via the XMLA endpoint by eliminating the need for data duplication or transformation. You have a Fabric tenant that contains a complex semantic model. The model is based on a star schema and contains many tables, including a fact table named Sales. You need to visualize a diagram of the model. The diagram must contain only the sales table and related tables. What should you use from Microsoft Power BI Desktop? A. Data categories. B. Data view. C. Model view. D. DAX query view. The answer is C. The model view in Microsoft Power BI Desktop provides a visual representation of the relationships between tables in your semantic model. It allows you to see the structure of your star schema, including the sales fact table and its related dimension tables. You can filter or focus on specific tables, like the sales table and its related tables, to create a simplified view. You have a Fabric tenant that contains a workspace named Workspace 1. Workspace 1 uses Pro license mode and contains a semantic model named Model 1. You need to ensure that Model 1 supports XMLA connections. Which setting should modify? A. Users can edit data models in the Power BI service. B. Enforce strict access control for all data connection types. C. Enable cache for shortcuts. D. License mode. The answer is D. To enable XMLA connections for a semantic model in Power BI, the workspace containing the model must be set to Premium License mode. The XMLA endpoint is only supported in workspaces that are in Premium Capacity or Premium Per User (PPU) license mode. Since Workspace 1 is currently in Pro license mode, you need to change the license mode to either Premium Capacity or PPU to ensure Model 1 supports XMLA connections. You have a Fabric tenant that contains a workspace named Workspace 1. You plan to deploy a semantic model named Model 1 by using the XMLA endpoint. You need to optimize the deployment of Model 1. The solution must minimize how long it takes to deploy Model 1. What should you do in Workspace 1? A. Select Small Semantic Model Storage Format. B. Select Users can edit data models in the Power BI service. C. Set Enable Cache for shortcuts to on. D. Select Large Semantic Model Storage Format. The answer is D. The large semantic model storage format is designed for handling large and complex datasets, improving the efficiency of operations like loading, processing, and deploying models. It is optimized for scalability and performance, which helps minimize the deployment time for large models. You have a Fabric tenant. You are creating a Fabric data factory pipeline. You have a stored procedure that returns the number of active customers and their average sales for the current month. You need to add an activity that will execute the stored procedure in a warehouse. The returned values must be available to the downstream activities of the pipeline. Which type of activity should you add? A. Append variable. B. Lookup. C. Copy data. D. KQL. The answer is B. The lookup activity is specifically designed for executing queries or stored procedures and retrieving data from a data source. It allows you to capture the output from the stored procedure, making it available for use in subsequent activities within the pipeline. This is particularly useful for scenarios where you need to process or route data based on the results returned from a stored procedure. You have a Fabric tenant that contains a data warehouse. You need to load rows into a large Type 2 slowly changing dimension, SCD. The solution must minimize resource usage. Which T-SQL statement should you use? A. Update and insert. B. Merge. C. Truncate table and insert. D. Create table as select. The answer is B. The merge statement is designed to perform insert and update operations in a single statement. It allows you to efficiently manage Type 2 SCDs by inserting new records for new customers or changes in attributes, updating existing records to mark old versions as inactive while adding new versions. This approach minimizes resource usage compared to separate update and insert statements, as it reduces the need for multiple passes over the data. You have a Microsoft Power BI Premium per user (PPU) workspace that contains a semantic model. You have an Azure App Service app named App1 that modifies row-level security (RLS) for the model by using the XMLA endpoint. App1 requires users to sign in by using their Microsoft Entra credentials to access the XMLA endpoint. You need to configure App1 to use a service account to access the model. What should you do first? A. Add a managed identity to the workspace. B. Modify the XMLA endpoint setting. C. Upgrade the workspace to premium capacity. D. Add a managed identity to App1. The answer is D. Adding a managed identity to App1 allows the app to authenticate and access Azure resources securely without needing to manage credentials. This is particularly useful for service accounts accessing the XMLA endpoint. Once the managed identity is set up for App1, you can then configure permissions in your Power BI workspace to allow the managed identity access to the semantic model, facilitating row-level security modifications as needed. You have a Fabric tenant. You are creating a Fabric data factory pipeline. You have a stored procedure that returns the number of active customers and their average sales for the current month. You need to add an activity that will execute the stored procedure in a warehouse. The returned values must be available to the downstream activities of the pipeline. Which type of activity should you add? A. Append variable. B. Script. C. Stored procedure. D. Get metadata. The answer is C. The stored procedure activity in Fabric Data Factory is used to execute a stored procedure in a warehouse and capture the returned values. Since the requirement specifies that the output, active customers and average sales, must be available for downstream activities, this activity ensures the values are accessible for subsequent steps in the pipeline.